All right, just a casual video, no editing. I just want to show you this fun decoy build. So we're using VLC for this. This build is really, really fun. You drop down a decoy, you get a bunch of enemies together, drop airstrikes on their head, and you freeze them for 3 seconds. I got inspired to do this because Dungeons wanted me to run a constructor build, and then I remembered. Here, let's just watch this one more time. Look at that airstrike. Yeah, we're using airstrike today. So Dungeons wanted me to run a constructor, and it reminded me of this update video forever ago. This is where they changed a bunch of heroes, and one of them was Sentinel Hype, going from a 4.5 second decoy extension to 6, which is just enough so that your decoy is done and expired with 3 seconds left on the timer, and then Brain Freeze in support. Yeah, you guys remember Brainstorm? This build is pulling out all the dusty heroes. Yeah, he freezes them for 3 seconds, which is just enough so that as soon as they're thawed out, your decoy is ready to go again. Then the rest of the build, super simple. Happy Holidays for that cooldown, Gadgeteer for the airstrike. The alternative to this build would be the guy that damages enemies every 6 seconds, and that is a nice build if you just want decoy damage. That would be Magnus right here. We're not going to be using him just for the airstrike, but then we do have a bit of damage coming from Kyle the 13th. That's available from the Fortnite Llamas as this video is going out, so go ahead and pick it up. He reflects damage back on the enemies. Then we got an explosion from Saboteur Bull. He's from Military Llamas. You might have to flux him. He's not needed for the build to work, but that damage is really nice to have, so do what you will. Controller Harper is a base game hero. Decoy cooldown is essential for this, and Brain Freeze we already explained. So that's it. We're just gonna hop into Ventures. We're gonna do a 108 encampments mission. This is our lobby. I figured we're a little over leveled for this. Demon Gamer's balancing it out a bit with the power level, but I just needed a mission to showcase this, and encampments is perfect for that. So obviously this is being showcased in the Hexylvania Ventures loadout, or Ventures season. A Ventures loadout for this season is kind of only going to need to have close range stuff because you do less damage to enemies that are far away, but you can see how it works. You get a bunch of enemies grouped up, and if you have a launcher, in this case mine's water, you could just shoot that into the crowd and destroy everything at once. It's really, really satisfying and honestly, really good for encampments. I bet everybody knows this by now, but if you're trying to get around the map quickly, craft directional pads. They are extremely good. You jump as soon as you hit it and you'll go further, and then if you place it as you land on it, you can actually go even further still. They're super cheap and they get you around faster than pretty much anything in the game. So yeah, let's get everybody angry. Let's get all the enemies around here all triggered at me, coming towards me, just to get as much on this decoy as possible. Might as well use the early airstrike since it's going to have a pretty long cooldown. Of course, we have Gadgeteer to reduce that a little bit. It's 124 seconds, which is kind of a lot, but, you know, still going to be a fun thing to have. This is really more of a fun build. Obviously, Decoy is not a top recommended loadout for Ventures. I've shown Ventures loadouts for this season in the past. I'll link in the description down below, an awesome playlist for that. But, oh yeah, all in one spot. It's perfect. But if you wanted to just have fun, maybe you were having a little bit of a boring time with Ventures, which is normal for a lot of players, then you could pull out a decoy build and do something that you might have never used before. I was excited when Dungeons wanted me to run a constructor, and I thought, I remember that old build where they buffed Sentinel Hype and they made constructors actually kind of viable, and that's what came of this. And a viewer had suggested a really bad build on stream, and I had already used the airstrike from that build and hadn't swapped it back. Oops. But then, of course, we had the moment I already showed you guys where the airstrike actually came in perfectly handy because it was exactly what I needed to kill all of the enemies that I had grouped up in that one spot. And I felt like that was such an awesome moment that I wanted to share it with you guys here today. And I don't know what enemy is left over for this encampment, but we managed to kill everything in the surrounding area before that last enemy, which is, I guess, perfect if we're trying to showcase this build. All right, we got another encampment here. Just throwing down the decoy. We do have a Warcry teammate. They are well aware that I'm trying to make a video, but I did tell my team that eventually we can just work together on the encampments like normal because I do want to actually get this mission done in a reasonable sense. But I love this. It freezes the enemies, and then as soon as the decoy is ready, they thaw out, and then you get it back. It's a super good build. I actually am reasonably impressed with it. You'd think decoy would be really bad or like have some kind of drawback, but no, it's actually decent. And of course, we are a constructor, so if this were a defense where we actually had to build and have traps down, it would make sense to actually put down the base. It wouldn't be a boosted base by any sense of the imagination, but it would still work. It would still add armor and give the walls some extra health, so that would be useful, although it might not be the most recommended thing. So it looks like 2 minutes is actually not that long of a cooldown. We have all these enemies lined up again, and I get to use another airstrike. As somebody who exclusively uses drones and Adrenaline Rush, as it suits my playstyle like every single time, it is just cute to be able to use an ability, a gadget that I never use. It's just fun, especially on camera in a build where it actually makes sense. Wild times over here. All right, moving on with another big encampment. If you guys want to start killing stuff, that's fine. They can hear me in the stream because I'm recording this on stream. If you guys ever want to be a part of one of these live, you guys can follow me. Twitch link down below. Plasma Pulse, by the way, pretty good for the big targets. You know, it's not excellent, but as demonstrated here, if you have a discharger or a rocket launcher, it's well paired with a decoy. Now, something I'm going to share is some interesting knowledge. The Jabberwocky and cannonballs is actually a little bugged right now. If you shoot an enemy directly, it'll do the 3 balls as normal, and then it'll pop out another set of 3 cannonball projectiles. I don't know why that's happening, but it does. Do with that information what you will. Just saying, Jabberwocky, if you find it in a vending machine, is currently doing 75% more damage. I did record a video on this in 160s with a very proper loadout and good perks and everything. That'll be up on the channel eventually. You know, subscribe for more. But I will be using the Jabberwocky today. I actually ran a poll on stream where I was voting between the vacuum tube bow and the Jabberwocky, and everybody wanted me to get the Jabberwocky. So that's what I've got here, and I'm kind of glad I do, because I had another airstrike. Let's see if we can get it sort of in the middle so we can hit the mist monsters. Is that going to be a big yes. Yes. It was a big deal. God, it's actually so satisfying. I'm even going to throw my drones. I've been kind of ignoring the drones in lieu of showcasing the decoy and airstrike combo, but it feels like it actually makes sense. Now, one thing I am noticing here is that it looks like the vampiric effect on the zombies is healing them faster than we can do damage. So they're getting life leech off of the decoy, which is really weird. That feels like a bug. Like, that just doesn't seem like that's how that should work, but regardless, we also don't have any healing in this build, but the healing orbs, potions that the enemies are dropping on the ground seem to be sufficient, so I'm just going to pick these up as we go along, and that's just another thing that makes this a Adventures loadout for Hexylvania. Granted, obviously, this build could be used in pretty much any Venture season where builds make sense. I guess the Rage modifier for Blasted Badlands would have no energy, and that's bad. The Superhero modifier might make it even better in the Winter season, so during Frozen Fjords, this could actually be a very viable build. And then I don't believe the other seasons have anything other than the Pulsing modifier, where as you get kills, it stacks up and up and up, and then it bursts a bunch of damage, and that's really useful to use the player. By the way, you can combo 2 of these and go nice and far if your teammate isn't running in front of you with a hoverboard. But that pulsing damage modifier could be really useful for this. So yeah, I might have to showcase this build again. It depends on if there's any community interest for a really off meta, super random fun build. But look at that, man. Just so this got a little unlucky. Double impact is not what I would normally want on my Jabberwocky, but it means I'm launching enemies back super far and sometimes into the cannonballs. In that setting, you saw there's a bunch of enemies all grouped up. You are launching enemies sometimes back into the other projectiles. Look at that. You see that double hit, and then it's standing right next to more projectiles. Like, it's actually weirdly working. I don't normally like impact on this channel. You guys know I'm almost always using affliction or something else, but yeah, hey, if it works, it works. I'm not ever going to choose impact, but if that's what I'm going to get on my Venture's weapon, and I don't really have much choice over that, this is the one Jabberwocky I've got. So, hey, maybe there's one over here. What if I just got a better one right now? Okay, pipe down. Yeah, not exactly an upgrade over the Jabberwocky, if you ask me, but yeah, it's all right. So, I guess I have another airstrike, but it's a little hard to use it when everything is spread out, so I think I'm going to save it for the next encampment. And since we're pretty much done with this one, actually, no, there might be a third round. I think, I don't know if I want to cut or move on. All right, let's cut to the next encampment. So this will be super encampment number 2. Let me get everything cleared up. Let's throw a drone. Let's throw a little decoy. Airstrike right here because there's a taker on me. Ah, back up a little bit. That's actually some pretty good damage. That's really good. Team, if you guys want to help me again, that's fine. I appreciate it. Thank you for letting me have that. That is honestly a pretty effective strategy. I don't know if this is going to work at all power levels. It's really tough for me to get a perfect power level mission because my viewers on stream are going to be a different level than me, and your friends might be a different level than you. It's a little hard to match everything up perfectly, but yeah, at least in a mission where I'm a little underpowered, I guess I'm boosted to 99, it's actually working fairly well. And again, in a normal defense, when you're having trap tunnels and normal traps being placed, your base can buff those traps, and those trap tunnels can put the enemies together to just make your decoy even more effective. I was going to make a cut if they waited any longer, but yeah, of course, got a teammate running rocket launchers. That's going to slow things down a little bit for me here, but grouping the enemies up, super good. If you have a teammate who's running Dragon Slash, you can group up the enemies and have them slash through it. It's a pretty good combo deal. Honestly, when you're running decoy, having a bunch of enemies in one spot is something you can do a million different things with, and all of them are beneficial to the player. So yeah, pretty fun ability, I gotta say. Oh, I wanted to grab it. Okay, there we go. Clean cut. I almost flung off the map. You guys didn't need to see it. It's fine. I was chaining the directional pads, and it almost got gnarly, but I survived. All right, Plasma Pulse, hopefully for the taker. That actually worked fairly well. Okay. All right. No. All right. Settle down, everybody. I'm a decoy. Look at that. Here, let me just go bowling. It's so good. It's so good. All right, let's do decoy, and then airstrike, and then heal up with the potions on the ground. Back off a step. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Actually using airstrike. Like, not just ironically, not just because I wanted to try something different, but because it actually makes a lot of sense with this build. I love it. Now, because of the short range modifier, it's usually easy to forget that you really need to be within close range. If you aren't within 2 tiles of an enemy, your drones, your decoy is going to do significantly less, like half damage, literally half damage. So it's important to stay near the target that you're actually trying to damage. And you might be surprised just how short 2 tiles is, because it falls off pretty quick. But look at that. Oh my God. The Jabberwocky and the Discharger have got to be the perfect weapons to take advantage of a decoy. The Jabberwocky shoots 3 more projectiles that spreads out in a way that you can't always control, but when they're all right here, and you're getting the, extra 75% with the 3 extra cannonballs, it goes so much further and makes this showcase just all the better. I love it. I love it. I think that's pretty much it for this encampment. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's way easy to forget that this enemy is taking significantly reduced. So I think that's pretty much it for this encampment, and I think the next one is our last one. How about that? We get to actually reuse some of these, and I can try it again to double up. Okay, yep, the hoverboard guys are always in my face, but, you can actually get across the map pretty quick, and especially when you're already a constructor, not well known for their mobility, it's nice to take advantage of that. So we are going to have an airstrike available soon. Let me just go bowling again. This will never, ever not be set. There's nothing left. There's nothing left. Okay, all right, healing pad. Healing. Oh my God, my W key stopped working. The bugs in this game right now are honestly just tremendous. It is remarkable. Okay. Airstrike on the next wave. Let's get that taken care of. We don't need to heal up here right away. Oh, are we waiting for an enemy down here? It's a taker. 1 second. All right, we took care of it. Okay, there was an enemy and a taker locked down there. Let me get the airstrike ready. Let me go. There we go. All right, so you have to get the airstrike out and point it at the ground uninterrupted by an enemy. It's not always the easiest thing, but it is extremely gratifying. Look at that carnage, man. This is so amazing. I love this. It makes it so much more fun. At first, I was just testing out it. Okay, let me tell you the full origin story. There's actually more to it than I've shared, because I was testing just decoy, not even testing, just using it because Dungeons wanted me to do it. And what happened was a viewer, Jamie, apparently joking, he thought it was hilarious to ask me if this would be a good Ventures build. And I said, honestly, yeah. Like, probably. And he's like, oh no, I was kidding. I'm like, I'm not. Like, this would actually be a semi-viable build if you really wanted to use this in Ventures. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I had not planned on using the airstrike. So this went from a sarcastic question from a viewer and a weird Dungeons loadout situation. I think we've all had that, where if you do all of the dungeon quests, it will have you doing things running it Soldier, Ninja, Outlander, and Constructor. Well, Constructor's not usually good for combat, but I was using a build I normally wouldn't use. Then I was prompted to use it in Ventures when I had not planned on it by a sarcastic comment. And then from a previous weird build earlier in the day, I accidentally had airstrike equipped, which just so happened to synergize perfectly with the build I wanted to show. So this went from me messing around for my own entertainment, using decoy in-game just for funsies, to being elevated to an actually really interesting build when you comboed the airstrike. You get gadgets here and there, and you guys can see it's actually a pretty fun build. So there you go. I hope I did a good job. I've been in a mood recently where I want to show you guys stuff and I'm having fun with the game, but I've been really focusing on real life a bit more and I haven't been in the mood for editing much. So these one take videos are all I'm really in the mood for right now. And this build was fun and silly enough that I figured I'd just share it regardless. So if you enjoyed, subscribe, leave a like on the video. Let me know if you guys want any more. But here's another Hexylvania Ventures loadout for you guys, since a few of you were wondering. In fact, since we're here, might as well, you know, it's the end of the video. Let's check out my rewards. Lots of Ventures XP, gold, Battle Pass XP. I unlocked like 300 Battle Pass stars today because I hadn't been back. I hadn't been back to the Battle Pass in a while, but yeah, pretty good rewards. All right, I'm out of here.